Automobiles, insuring automobiles. What is the cheapest and best way to do that? Well, there's been a fair amount written about that recently, and here on Legal Video Blog, we wanted to talk about it because it does impact you. The law controls the way in which automobile policies are written, and it has a big impact upon you and your household expenses. Well, when we talk about insuring a car, we talk about insuring it for property damage. What is property damage? Well, there's two kinds of coverage under an automobile policy dealing with property damage. First is comprehensive. That's if something happens to your car, tree falls on it, hail hits the windshield, something of that nature. Second is collision. That's if you run into something or somebody runs into you, damages your car. Okay, that's property damage. And there are some vehicles that are cheaper to insure than others, and we're showing those vehicles here. Now, in addition to that coverage, there are other forms of coverage. In some states say there are 5. Some states say there are only 4 because they lump 2 of them together. But basically, what's that all about? Well, you've got the comprehensive, the collision, then you have liability coverage. That's in the event you hit somebody, you're at fault, you have to pay, that protects you. Finally, there is uninsured motorist coverage. That's if somebody hits you and is without insurance coverage. Underinsured motorist coverage, in some states lump those two together, and that's if the person that hits you is without enough insurance coverage to pay for all of your injuries and damages. And finally, there is what's referred to as medical payments coverage, and that's just paying medical expenses you have as a result of an injury occurring in an automobile accident. Now, of these, believe it or not, folks, the least important one to you is the property damage. The comprehensive and the collision. Those are the two least important to you because that's just about your car. Now you may say my car is one of my most precious investments. Well, it is, but what's the most important thing in your life? You and your life. Injuries that occur to you, damages that occur to you are covered under your policy if the other guy doesn't have enough coverage, and that's what you should really concentrate on. Before we leave, talking about property damage, let me point out one thing. In a real simple way to get your premiums down, and every agent will tell you this, is to have a high deductible. Now, some people will say, I don't want a high deductible. Well, that's your choice. But for every dollar you have in a deductible, that reduces the amount of your premium because the major portion of your premium goes to property damage. So if you have a high deductible, like $500, $1,000, even $2,000, that's going to really lower your premiums. Okay. But what about these other coverages? Well, liability coverage, you know what that's all about. But a coverage that a lot of people really don't think about is this underinsured, uninsured motorist coverage. Those two kinds of coverage protect you. If the guy that hits you is without insurance coverage, that coverage that you have on your automobile, uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage, protects you. It provides that you get paid for all of the hassles, for your medical expenses, and all the kinds of problems you have because somebody else ran into you. And you know what? You don't even have to be in a car if you're hit. What do you mean by that? That means if you're riding a bicycle and get hit by an uninsured automobile, you're covered under your auto policy. That means if you're sitting on the front porch of your house and some crazy fool comes down the street, runs across a curb and hits you on the porch, you are covered. All right, important kind of coverage, and it's cheap. It's very cheap. A couple of dollars a month in most states. You need to have this kind of coverage. And when you're getting coverage, don't sit there and say, oh, gee whiz, how can I get the cheapest kind of coverage available? What do I have to have and what don't I have to have? And an agent will tell you you don't have to have underinsured motorist coverage, but you know what? That's for you and for your family and people you're concerned with. You should have it. Insurance companies don't make a lot of money on it, and therefore they don't push it. But you need to push it. And why do I say this? Because as a practicing lawyer, as somebody that has represented many people involved in automobile accidents, let me tell you this. The one thing most of them say after it's over and done with is, I wish I had uninsured motorist coverage. All right, I'm not an insurance agent. I don't care where or how you buy this policy. I just want you to be protected. My name's David Allen.